Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life with best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the support of the universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of presence and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm super show because I'm a listener, and she was essentially asking, Kathy, what are your favorite tools to use when you're feeling crunchy? And so this is a show I have a lot of experience with because there are quite a few moments of crunchiness and opportunities to get beyond it, including this morning. My son did not take his backpack in the car with us this morning, and then he kind of freaked out when he didn't have it, and he wouldn't go to school without it. So I'll share more about that as we go along. But before we go and get going, I would love to hear from you. Just like this listener, I would love to hear your ideas for shows, your questions, questions about maybe topics I have covered and also things I haven't. And the best place to do that is at meetkathywilliams.com. Just send me your show ideas, your questions, your comments, whatever it is. You can also post below YouTube videos. You can send me a note on Messenger if you don't hear from me and you think you should. I think that Google Gmail does not always deliver emails. I had one guy say, Kathy, I emailed you 4 times to request a session, and I only got one of those. So where are they going? And they're not going to spam because I checked that too. Lots of weird stuff in there. So the best place to reach me is meetkathywilliams.com, and I'm also Kathy Williams public figure on Instagram and YouTube and all those places. So that's where I post my Hawaii videos, which there are a lot of. So let's dive in. And like I said, there are many opportunities to practice tools to lift our moods, to get uncrunchy when we're feeling off. And one of the first ones I'm going to share is something that you've probably heard if you listen to me quite a bit, and that is an expanding out exercise. Because the more we identify with I am this body, I am the person who needs to control things in my life, the easier it is to get crunchy. The less we identify with that and the more we identify with, wow, you know what, yes, I'm functioning in and as a body, and also I'm much bigger than that body, the more easy it is to remain relaxed, present, and able to handle whatever comes up. So let's do this, because the more you practice it, the easier it gets, and the more it almost becomes like your baseline. And we've had lots of practice functioning as I am this person and I need to control the outcome here and I need to control my life. Otherwise my life will be out of control and then it would suck, right? However, the more we practice expanding out and sensing the contribution and the presence and the willingness of all that is to support us, the more that, again, becomes natural for us and to sense and tap into. So if you're in a space and place where you can close your eyes, that is. However, if you can't, you could still expand out. All right. So go ahead and soften into whatever surface you're on, whether that's the ground or a chair or a bed. And just relax into that for a moment, sensing the hug of gravity downward, sensing the air beyond. And see if you can sense the walls of the room, the floor, and the ceiling as you expand bigger and bigger. Out to the building, beyond the neighborhood side, to expand throughout the country, to and through the ocean. Expanding so much downward, upward, and outward that the earth is within you. Bigger and bigger as you expand your awareness of your awareness across the system, across the galaxy, to include the one of that infinite. Now, one of the things we're in crunchiness, right? We're usually in a mood, we have some contraction in our body. What you're feeling that is expand as well. So you're almost stretching it like cotton candy. Stretching and stretching and stretching it. And usually you'll find that as you stretch it and expand it across the solar system, that it starts to become more diaphanous, sort of hollow or kind of see-through, right? And so it has less of a quality of sticky, big, contractive, heavy, and more like, that wasn't such a big deal after all, right? So we're expanding it bigger as well, and so big, so big, so big, so big, so big that it becomes like it's nothing really. It loses its significance. And if it still has significance, you haven't expanded it big enough, right? Bigger than that, downward, upward, and outward, bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometimes we think, oh my gosh, if I expanded it so much, it'd become overwhelming and heavy, but actually the opposite is true. And when you expand a quality that's real, like the loving frequency you have for someone, the caring you have for someone, that actually does expand and get bigger. But when you expand something that's made up, like upset, frustration, you made that up, that actually loses its heaviness as you expand it across the universe. All right, so play with it. If you have questions, let me know. It's something I've done quite a lot, and you like to set up a role. Here's the thing. Sometimes when we need a tool the most is when we forget our tools, right? We're just in it and feeling it, and that's not bad or wrong. Right? And I think one place we get stuck sometimes is making whatever mood we're in bad or wrong, like it shouldn't be there, instead of, no, actually this is what is right now. I don't have to push it away. And some of the questions I like to ask are, what gift is this? And sometimes a frustration might show us like, oh my gosh, like I've dealt with this a lot and I need to change patterns here. Like every time I deal with this person, they have the same response. They're not very nice to me. Okay, cool. Like, how would you like to change that? Would you not like to have them in your life? Would you like to uh, be more direct? Would you like to, so sometimes what that strong emotion or the crunchiness is showing us is something to look at so that we can create a change, right? So what gift is this emotion? What is it showing me? Is there adjustment for me to make? And sometimes it's, oh my gosh, I really like feeling frustrated, or I really like, what do I like about this? I have a YouTube about that. What do I love about this? Um, so the other thing to kind of look at there is whatever you're feeling is actually your choice. I know that sometimes it doesn't feel like it's your choice, right? It feels like, no, they made me feel that way. No, actually, no one can make you feel anything. So I like to use this tool. I got this probably a decade ago, and then I kind of modified it to and it goes, I feel, right? So let's just choose angry. I'm choosing angry. I mean, I'm feeling angry, and feeling angry because I'm choosing to feel that way. Choosing angry because I think that works for me. Is it really? So first off, this to me recognize what it is I'm feeling, and then that I'm choosing that feeling, and I'm choosing it because I think it works for me. Then I get to look at, is it really working for me? I mean, I myself have used anger to my advantage in the past. Okay? Even as children, or you've probably seen children who use their tantrum to their advantage, right? They freak out so much that they end up getting the ice cream or the toy or whatever it is they wanted, the extra 10 minutes at the park. Um, but there are useful ways to harness that energy too. Yeah, I tell the story of me being a mama bear at a museum where this museum worker was just not doing her job and she just pissed me off, and I ended up getting tickets to the Ferris wheel and all the things, but like harnessing that anger. So sometimes it does work for us. However, a lot of the times it's misdirected energy. Yeah. So you can ask, how can I use this energy to my advantage? What message is here for me? And also, okay, cool. So I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling angry because I'm choosing to. I'm choosing to because I think that works for me. Is it really? And then look, yes or no. And, okay, what would I rather choose? So that's the fourth line. What would I rather choose? You could even ask, what would work better? So profound. Saying these things, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling it because I'm choosing to, because I think it works for me. Is it really working? Okay. And what would work better, or what would I rather choose? So these 5 lines shifts so much for me super fast. Mm-hmm. I love fast and effective, and that does it. So, and I've taught it to a lot of people and seen huge results with it. So let me know how it works for you. Um, yeah, it just kind of like breaks the pattern in your brain. You're going in a direction you don't really want to go, and you're hovering there, and it's like, oh wait, I have choice. I can take a new route, and let's reroute and see what that creates instead. So what would I rather choose? I am a huge believer in your emotions give you, they're really a gift to you. Like, what is it doing here? Is that the frequency I'm tapped into? And I'm an infinite being. I could be tapped into any energy. However, right now I'm tapped into the energy of sad or whatever it is. And what is this showing me? What is it telling you? Not rejecting it. Because to me, when you're pushing away an emotion or an energy, you're, one, making it even more real, and two, bringing in resistance. And instead, if you can welcome it to your door and say, hey, you know, what information are you giving me? Then it can flow, because emotions are energy in motion. So they can flow. And I know a lot of us have been taught, like, oh, well, it's not even yours. Return it to where it came from. However, it's showing up on your door because you're vibrating at that. You're in resonance with it. Okay? If you were in resonance with overwhelming joy, that's what you would feel. But you're in resonance with sad or in resonance with frustration or whatever it is. So if you welcome it as a gift and then allow it to gift to you and then say goodbye, there's something magical in that. So receiving everything, rejecting nothing, allowing it all to gift to you, even the crunchiness. And as we go on in the show, you know, I've been using, I studied Ho'oponopono for, wow, like 7 years now, and used it off and on in varying ways, because there are several different ways of doing Ho'oponopono. And recently I've been looking at it some more and had some profound insights. It's really shifted my whole life. So we'll talk about that as the show goes on. I'm super eager to share it, and we'll look more at things that bring on crunchiness and some of the ways to dance with it. Thanks so much for being here. I'll be right back.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching, or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and today we are talking about my favorite tools for when I'm feeling crunchy and off. And I love to hear from listeners. So if you have a comment, if you have a question, this show was inspired by a listener. You know, she messaged me the other day. Hey, this is what I want to hear. So I love hearing from you, and meetkathywilliams.com is the place to go to do that. There you can also get a free Create Your Life exercise and a Money Rain exercise. And we're going to change that up soon, so if you're listening way in the future, there might be something else there. So head on over to meetkathywilliams.com. There you can also find online classes, coaching sessions, and all different things. In fact, tomorrow I'll be having a class called What Are You Avoiding in Relationships? I was asked by a bunch of people to do some stuff on relationships, and I was like, I think I was avoiding that. Tomorrow's class is about what are you avoiding in relationships, and what would happen if you didn't avoid it and you opened the door and allowed it to expand your life. Because avoidance takes energy, right? It takes our energy to avoid something. So what would happen if you freed up that energy to create a different possibility? So that class can be found at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. I'll also be doing, people are asking me to do a class on Ho'oponopono, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. We'll talk about Ho'oponopono and the profound effect it's had on crunchiness when crunchiness is in my world. So that'll be coming up too. You can find all upcoming classes at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And I also have one more fun thing. A barre, like BARRE, exercise class in 20-minute intervals. So it'll be 3 times, a Thursday, a Saturday, and a Tuesday, working different muscle groups to strengthen and lengthen, and it's just super fun. I really love the barre exercise system because it's fun and it's effective and you see results, and I don't have a lot of time. So if I'm going to do something, it's got to have results, and that's what barre does. So you can find that also at meetkathywilliams.com/BARRE, and that'll give you all the details. It's only $20. It's a fun online experience. You'll get the recordings, so you can do all those little workouts again and again. All right, so I discussed 5 things I like to look at, and also the expanding out exercise. You know, another thing that I find super useful when I'm feeling crunchy is to journal. Really get it out on the page. You know, I know people have different practices. Sometimes we write it out and burn it. Right? Sometimes we write it out, and I remember even being a child, you know, I did this big mad at my mom and writing, I hate you, and even now I'm really getting vulnerable. As a little girl, I like drew a gun, and I was so mad at my mom. You're not my real mom, you know. I'm a princess and you abducted me, right? Stuff like that, where it's just like you're getting it out of your system onto paper. So, in order to change the crunchiness, however, of a situation or an emotional experience, I love to write out my points of view about it. All right, so I mentioned this to a listener this morning, someone in one of my masterminds. Like, she was having frustrations and heaviness around Thanksgiving and all the people and the family and just the energies. So write 10 points of view about it. Oh my gosh, this is too much energy to handle. These people are nuts. They don't like me. Whatever it is, right? I have to prove I'm valuable to them. They're not real, and I'm making some of this up, and some of this was actually what was true. And looking at your points of view. And then using one of the tools. It could be interesting point of view. I have that point of view, which is an access consciousness tool. Or it could be, collapse that point of view back to energy. Or collapse all the patterns around that point of view back to energy. Right? Each of these point of views that you're writing down, each of these points of view is just a thought, right? It's just a thought. There are many possibilities of things to think, not just that. So writing it down can help you see, like, oh, that's perspective. And I could also have a different perspective. So I like to always come up with at least 10, if I can, because usually we're aware of several. Like, we might be aware of 3 points of view, 5 points of view that are going on in our head. But if we challenge ourselves to find 10, right, dig a little deeper, and dig a little deeper, and dig a little deeper, and it might be, well, these people never liked me, and these people, whatever it is, like, you're just digging deeper into, well, what else is down there? What else is down there that I wasn't aware of? And then looking at your points of view, one by one, and letting them go. So you could write this 10 view and use one of those tools I mentioned, interesting point of view, or collapse it back to energy. The other thing you could do is write the opposite point of view. So down the middle of your paper, you could say, okay, here's my point of view. My point of view is these people are boring. The opposite might be, these people are really engaging and interesting. These people don't like me. Oh, these people do like me, right? And just help yourself realize that, like, oh, I have options as to what to believe here. I'm choosing this one polarity, but there's also the other side. Kind of like that, what would I rather choose? Thing. So it's just helping us, jolt us out of the automatic programming. We have this thing called the negativity bias. If you've heard my shows about radical abundance, and maybe even some other shows, I talk about the negativity bias, because that is the nature of the mind, to look for what's off. And so we might think, in fact, I used to think, as an LA company, oh, that director doesn't like me. Okay, well, if I have that point of view, how am I going to show up to work every day, right? He doesn't like me. That's my point of view. Well, he hired me. Well, put that aside, right? I didn't think about that. Just, he doesn't like me. Well, then I realized at one point, like, oh, he does like me. So then I picked a different guy, like, oh, well, he doesn't like me, right? It was funny to watch that, because when I watched myself do that, oh, he likes me, so he doesn't. Then it was like, Kathy, that's all in your head. And so that's some of what these exercises of journaling will do. Help you realize, oh, I'm making it up, and then living as though it's true. And we're so powerful. We make all sorts of crap up, and then we live as though it's true. Huh. What else are you making up? You could even remind yourself, hey, it's made up. I'm making this up. The other 10 things I like to look at from time to time are if I'm faced with a crunchy, uncomfortable, annoying, frustrating situation, as the case may be, I like to look at what are 10 gifts in the situation, right? And again, it's sometimes really a challenge to come up with 10 because you're like, well, maybe there's this one gift. Okay, maybe there's a second gift there. It's helping me look at this. If you push yourself a little bit to come up with 7, 10, it's like exercising your awareness. Exercising your awareness to look for what's right about this, what's working in this. And sometimes as we start to look at, oh, well, this is working, this element of it is working, and I can get that in a much more functional way. I'm getting attention from this, right? Well, how else could I get attention? I mean, a lot of people create illness, and then, as we look at it, they're like, well, I take care of myself because I have this illness. And then we look at it and we're like, well, would you be willing to take care of yourself without the illness? Oh yeah, I could totally do that. And then they can let the illness go. All right? So looking for 10 gifts in the situation. And universe, help me see the gift in this. Universe, what would it take to change this with total ease? Universe, what would it take to get that gift in a more functional way? Universe, what would it take? Another super simple thing to ask when you're feeling crunchy is, universe, what would it take to have ease with this? I am, as I wrote in the book called Possibilities in Parenting, I used to have a real struggle at that 6 o'clock hour when I'm trying to make dinner and the kids are home and they're just like, and at each other's throats. That used to be consistently a moment of pain for me, right? And when you have those consistent moments of pain, it's time to look at those and be like, oh, wait, how could I do this differently? So just for a moment, look at something that's recurring in your life. Okay? Recurring pain. And how could you do that differently? What occurs to you? Is it a harried morning? Oh, well, I could just get everything together, like what I'm going to wear, what the kids are going to wear, the lunches, everything together the night before. Get it, stuff in the car the night before, whatever it is. Is it before a trip, right? Oh my gosh, I'm always rushed, and the moment before a trip is always painful. Okay, well, how could you do that differently, right? And the other question, what would it take to have more ease with this? Okay. So even me this morning, I kind of teased you earlier. My son forgot his backpack today. And it was just like, And luckily, the funny thing is, whenever he forgets his backpack, it's always on a day when my morning is not rushed, which is awesome. But, so I had that moment of like, you forgot your backpack? That's actually the second time this week. Okay? And so what can I do to prevent that pain? Well, put the backpack in the car the night before. Make sure I remember to ask him, hey, do you have your backpack? Have a giant note on the front door. So with clients, sometimes I do this thing called a brain dump, right? And the idea behind it is to find a solution to whatever it is you're going through. So for between 2 and 5 minutes, you get to choose. You just sit and come up with every solution and write down every solution you can think of within that time with no filter. What that means is You're not saying, oh, that one's a really stupid idea. Oh, this is a pretty good idea, right? Stupid or good, that doesn't matter. Like, your judgment in this does not matter. It's really about dumping all the solutions, everything you come up with, onto the page. And it's profound because sometimes you come up with something that is not the solution, but it's like the solution. It leads to the solution that ends up working, right? So that's one of the things that I do to help in those consistently crunchy situations, those situations that consistently lower my mood. And when we talk about something bringing us down, we're actually really, like, our vibration is going down when we're down. And we are the ones who have the power to lift it up again through expanding out, through using the process of looking at our emotion and then asking, is it really working? And if not, what would work better? Or through getting information from the emotion and making some choices to change something. And the next thing in the next part of the show, we'll talk about Ho'oponopono and the way it was traditionally done, and then the way most people have heard of it more recently, and the insights and changes I've used to make it work even better for me. And it's super, it's one of the most profound things I've been doing of late. So stick around, everybody. I look forward to sharing that with you on Sexy Mom Abundant Life. We'll be back in just a few on IOM.FM. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, all the places. Thanks so much for listening.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching, or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. This is Kathy Williams, and today's show is all about my favorite tools, my kind of toolbox for when I'm feeling crunchy. And one of the tools, before we head into Ho'oponopono, which I'm super excited about because it's really had a profound impact on me recently, is interesting point of view. And I mentioned it briefly a few minutes ago. And the way I like to use it the most, this access consciousness tool, is to sit with something, whatever's making me crunchy, and be with that particular thing and any thoughts that come up about it for like 3 to 5 minutes. So it might be like, oh my gosh, let me go back to my kid forgot his backpack, or, you know, it could be a relationship thing or a money thing or whatever it is. Oh, whatever thoughts occur to you in 3 to 5 minutes about that thing, you just say, no, interesting point of view. I'm aware of that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. Interesting point of view. And then sometimes we think, you know, we have relationships with others, so we think, oh, well, they'll feel that way. Okay, interesting point of view, they'll have that point of view. Interesting point of view, they feel that way. Interesting point of view, right? For an extended period of time. Again, kind of just helping us realize, like, yes, that's one way of being with something, but there are other ways as well. Super useful, and general for me, especially when I zero in on a particular topic. I know a lot of people just use interesting point of view as they go throughout their day. To me, that's a lot of being in my head. So I use it as an exercise more. So Ho'oponopono. This is a practice that a lot of people are aware of as 4 different statements. I love you. I'm sorry. Me. Thank you. You may have heard them in that order. You may have heard them in any other order. And this is a more modern version of Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono Hawaiian, and I live on Maui, so it's something that I initially started studying like 7 years ago, maybe 8. My son is 7 now, so yeah, about 8 years ago. And I studied it with a kahuna or a shaman. I actually studied a lot of different Hawaiian healing and energy techniques with her. And this particular, this 4-statement application is more recent. So let me just talk about the past application. It used to be that if something wasn't right, Ho'oponopono means to make things right. Okay? So something was off, then family members would come together and have resolution about it. Okay, so they would get together and, you know, talk together and make things right, right? So I have one Ho'oponopono meditation I lead people through that is about you, and it's in your head, but Ho'oponopono is always about you and your perspective. And so it's like you talking with the other and coming to resolution, right? Because that's the more traditional way it was done. Now, I believe I'm not that good at history. I just don't remember. I mean, I don't remember dates and stuff like that. But I believe it was like in the 70s. Morna Simeona was a modern day kahuna or seer, knower, and she sort of intuited this Ho'oponopono process, which is much more a forgiveness and resolution and be set free process, which talks to the subconscious and the conscious mind and divinity and right? And one of the people who learned from her was Dr. E. Haleakala Len. And he is well known for being in a book with Joe Vitale. And Joe found him because he was purported to have healed this whole psych ward. I've forgotten if it was a mental hospital, but a whole psych ward based by just saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and healing whatever was in him. Remember, Ho'oponopono is about you. So whatever was in himself causing the problem, whatever was in himself causing their ailment. And he talked about it. I've heard him talk about, people leaving, going free, not having to be there anymore because they're healed, right? He said, here's to this process, this 4-part process, it's cleaning. And through his day, cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning all the time. Right? Whatever I have a problem with, I clean, because the problem is with me. It's my perception that is off. All right. So, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. It's all sort of I'm going to use the word supplication, but you're talking to the divine. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the errors in my perception. Okay? Please forgive me for that. And thank you. And as he talks about it, he talks about the fact that, like, if any part of that feels off for you, then don't use that word, right? If I love you feels off, don't say that. So for me, as I've played with this, I came back to it recently. I've learned the traditional in Ho'oponopono and that sort of meditation, then changing it into a meditation. I've learned Morna Simayona's version, which is very wordy, like a lot of talking, and then this more modern application. And all of them are super powerful. I mean, we had this crazy guy renting from us, and Ho'oponopono was the only thing that changed things. I mean, I used clearing tools, and I used mantras, and I used all this stuff, and Ho'oponopono was the only thing that created freedom for me, and it was the more wordy version that Morna Simayona brought through. So recently I've been practicing this more short version, and remember, he said that you can throw out any part that doesn't work for you. So I recognize that for me, the I'm sorry part takes me to a lower vibration. Like, I'm sorry, okay? Lower vibration. So I let go of that part, and then I love you, right? That as I started to really kind of grok that, as I started to really like dive into that, I got that I am loving, right? And if I'm loving all experience. I'm loving life as it is. And as I really kind of dove in even more, it was not I, like the personal I, like the ego I. It was more like life is loving. I am the larger I am loving. Constantly, endlessly, always, in this never-ending flow. And so that became really real for me. And as I'm driving down the road, I can sense that never-ending flow of loving, right? It's ever present. And talk about a tool to get you out of crunchiness. It's like, how can there be crunchiness in that, right? I am loving. And in that, there's not even a you. It's just I am loving. And the small, the more personal I is just riding that wave of love. Okay. If this is out there for you, then I am. Okay. So I am loving. Thank you. If thank you is the only prayer you said, that would be enough. Like the gratitude in everything. So I am loving. Thank you. And then sometimes I do say I'm sorry because I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So I am loving. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the please forgive me is the error in my perception. Right? The not recognizing that all is in its own flow. Right? Life should be different. That's an error in perception. Right? That's me thinking it should be this way. Me in resistance, which is in resistance to the flow of what is. Right? And that's the only thing that can create my own tension, my own crunchiness, my own low mood is me being in resistance to what is. So I am loving. Please forgive me. Thank you. And the idea is that you repeat that as necessary to create a change. And again, you make it your own. Okay. If you like the I'm sorry part, keep that. If you like it just as it is, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Use it that way. And for me, it just profoundly opened up when it was like, I am loving. I am loving. And not only like I am loving, like the small I and the large I, but I am loving. Like that's what I am. Just waves of loving energy, that frequency. And like I mentioned earlier, when we're getting down, it's actually going down in frequency. Well, when we're in the frequency of loving, it's just so peaceful, so present, so okay with what is. So this for me has been a hugely profound tool, and I'll talk more about it in one of the upcoming classes online, because even today someone said, Kathy, what do you know about Ho'oponopono? And I was like, oh, there is this, there are online certifications you can do. There are, classes you can come to Hawaii and do it. I've led people in Ho'oponopono sessions, all over the world. And and of course there are YouTube videos you can find, and everyone has their own perspective on it, a little bit different, because there have been a lot of, there are the books, and there are a lot of different, evolutions over time. Like I mentioned, my 3 classes I've taken on it, each totally different. And then the one that most people know about is from Iha Haleakala, Hugh Len, and Joe Vitale. And the whole point is to go back to 0, because this is what you're doing is you're cleaning your own memories, because your own lens over the clarity of your seeing life as it is. right? Your memories are what cloud your clarity and your receptivity to life. So these 4 statements: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or like I do it, I'm loving, please forgive me, thank you, are all about just like letting go of those memories that cloud your perception and your receptivity for life as it is. And then you're able to see a problem is only a problem because you've judged it to be a problem. Otherwise, it's simply possibility. It's simply life as it is, constantly loving, constantly gifting. So, thanks so much for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. And if you want to join me in an online bar class or in that relationships class tomorrow, visit meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And have a marvelous holiday. I hope this helps you avoid some of that crunchiness and low mood. And let me know. Until next Thursday, you can find me on YouTube, SoundCloud, and all the other places. If you can't wait till Thursday, have a wonderful week. Aloha.